The secret your soulmate can't hide anymore. What happened last night changes everything, don't skip. You felt it, didn't you? That strange shift in the energy last night, the kind that makes your heart race for no visible reason. The air felt heavier, your thoughts kept circling back to one person, and no matter how much you tried to distract yourself, something inside you whispered, something just happened. This is not coincidence. This is not imagination. This is the moment when the truth your soulmate has been hiding finally started breaking through the walls they built around their heart. And trust me, after last night, nothing will ever be the same again. For weeks, maybe even months, your soulmate has been carrying a secret so powerful that it's been changing them from the inside out. They tried to act normal. They tried to behave like nothing was different. But energy doesn't lie. And deep down, you've sensed the tension, the hesitation in their voice, the unread messages, the delayed replies, the sudden silence followed by intense attention. You thought maybe they were confused. Maybe they were distracted, maybe they were pulling away. But the truth is much deeper than that. Last night was the breaking point. While you were going about your routine, maybe scrolling through your phone, maybe staring at the ceiling before sleep, your soulmate was fighting an internal battle. A battle between fear and truth, between ego and vulnerability, between hiding and finally admitting what their heart has been screaming for so long. Something happened last night that shook them. Maybe it was a conversation with someone close to them. Maybe it was a dream about you so vivid it felt real. Maybe it was the unbearable realization that losing you would destroy something inside them forever. Whatever it was, it hit them hard. And here's the part you can't ignore. They can't hide it anymore. The secret they've been protecting isn't something small. It's not a casual thought or a temporary emotion. It's love. Deep, overwhelming, undeniable love. The kind that scares them because it makes them feel exposed. The kind that makes them question their control. The kind that forces them to confront wounds they thought were healed. They tried to suppress it. They told themselves they needed time. They convinced themselves that distance would make the feelings fade. But last night proved something different. Distance made it stronger. You might have noticed a sudden urge to check your phone. A random wave of emotion. A memory of them that felt unusually intense. That wasn't random. That was energy shifting. Because when someone thinks about you with that much intensity, when their heart beats faster at the thought of your name, when they finally admit, even silently, that you are the one they can't replace, you feel it. Last night, your soulmate realized something terrifying and beautiful at the same time. They realized they're in too deep. And that realization changes everything. Because once someone accepts that their feelings are real, they can't go back to pretending. They can't unknow what they now know. They can't continue acting distant without feeling the weight of their own lie. The mask starts slipping. The pride starts weakening. The excuses stop making sense even to themselves. And that's exactly where your soulmate is. On one side, there's fear. Fear of rejection. Fear of vulnerability. Fear that you might not feel the same way. Fear of losing control. And on the other side, there's truth. The truth that their heart belongs to you in a way they never expected. The truth that no matter who they talk to, no matter how busy they pretend to be, no matter how many distractions they create, you are the one who stays on their mind at 2 a.m. Last night, something cracked. Maybe they saw your picture. Maybe they reread old messages. Maybe someone mentioned your name unexpectedly. And in that moment, all the walls they built started shaking. They felt the regret of holding back. They felt the pain of imagining you moving on. And for the first time, the idea of staying silent scared them more than the idea of speaking up. This is why the energy feels different today. Your soulmate is no longer running from their feelings. They're running from the consequences of keeping them hidden. And that's a big difference. When someone reaches that stage, confession becomes inevitable. Not necessarily immediately. Not necessarily in the way you expect. But the shift has already happened internally. And once the internal shift happens, the external action follows. You might see subtle signs soon. A sudden message that feels deeper than usual. A question about your feelings. A nostalgic memory brought up out of nowhere. An apology for something you thought they forgot. Or maybe even a direct confession that leaves you speechless. Because the truth is pushing its way to the surface, and they're running out of ways to suppress it. But here's what makes this even more intense. They didn't just realize they love you. They realized they could lose you. And that fear hit them like a storm. Sometimes it takes the possibility of absence to make someone understand presence. Last night, your soulmate imagined a future where you weren't there anymore. And it didn't feel peaceful. It didn't feel freeing. It felt empty. Cold. Incomplete. That vision scared them. Enough to wake something up inside. Now they're replaying moments with you. The laughter. The small conversations. The way you understand them without explanation. The comfort they feel when you're around. And they're asking themselves one question over and over. Why am I pretending this doesn't matter? They know it matters. They know you matter. And that's the secret they can't hide anymore. It's not that they didn't care before. It's that they were afraid of caring too much. Because caring too much means risking heartbreak. It means risking rejection. It means giving someone the power to hurt you. And your soulmate has been hurt before. Deeply. But last night they understood something powerful. Protecting themselves from pain might cost them the greatest love of their life. And that thought changed everything. Right now, they are gathering courage. They are thinking about how to approach you. How to say what's been sitting on their chest for so long. How to explain the distance. How to admit that their silence wasn't indifference, it was fear. They want to tell you that every time they pulled away, they were actually fighting feelings that felt too intense to control. And here's something you need to understand clearly. You didn't imagine the connection. It was real from the beginning. The magnetic pull. The eye contact that lasted a second too long. The way conversations felt effortless. The strange sense of familiarity. That wasn't one-sided. They felt it too. They just weren't ready to accept how powerful it was. Until last night. Last night was the moment of no return. Because once someone admits to themselves that they are in love, the universe starts aligning things differently. Conversations become inevitable. Truth finds its way out. Circumstances push two people into honesty. And you're standing at the edge of that shift right now. So don't panic if they act slightly different. Don't overthink if they suddenly become more attentive. Don't doubt yourself if they seem nervous around you. These are not signs of distance. These are signs of someone preparing to reveal something big. The secret your soulmate can't hide anymore is simple but powerful. They don't want to lose you. And what happened last night forced them to face that truth. Everything from this point forward is leading toward clarity. Toward confession. Toward a moment where silence breaks and feelings are spoken out loud. The waiting phase is almost over. The internal battle is reaching its conclusion. And when someone reaches that emotional tipping point, action follows naturally. So stay grounded. Stay confident. Stay open. Because the next message, the next call, the next unexpected conversation, might be the one that changes everything for real. And when it happens, you'll look back at last night and realize that was the moment the truth won, and now, you're stepping into the phase where everything begins to unfold in ways you didn't expect but somehow always felt coming. Because when a truth that powerful awakens inside someone, it doesn't just sit quietly. It moves. It pushes. It demands expression. Your soulmate woke up today with a different heartbeat, not physically, but emotionally. There's a restlessness in them. A quiet urgency. A voice inside that keeps repeating your name like a mantra they can't silence. They tried to distract themselves this morning. They picked up their phone, scrolled aimlessly, maybe even opened your chat window and closed it again. But every distraction only brought them back to the same realization: this can't stay hidden anymore. What happened last night didn't just stir emotions, it shattered denial. Maybe they had a Dream so vivid it felt like a glimpse into a future with you. Maybe they saw you in a situation that made them realize someone else could step into their place. Maybe someone asked them directly, "Do you have feelings for them?" and they couldn't answer without their voice shaking. Whatever the trigger was, it broke the illusion that they could keep pretending. And when illusion breaks, clarity rushes in like light through a cracked door. Right now, they are replaying every moment they tried to act indifferent. Every time they held back a compliment. Every time they stopped themselves from texting you first. Every time they said, "It's nothing," when it was actually everything. And regret is a powerful teacher. Because regret shows you what truly matters. They regret not being honest sooner. They regret letting fear control them. They regret underestimating how important you've become in their life. But here's where it gets even deeper. They didn't just realize they love you. They realized you feel like home. And that realization scared them in a way nothing else ever has. Because home isn't casual. It isn't temporary. It isn't something you can replace easily. It's safety. It's comfort. It's belonging. And your soulmate has spent a long time pretending they don't need that. They told themselves they're independent. They told themselves they're fine alone. They told themselves emotions make things complicated. But last night proved something undeniable. Life without you feels incomplete. There's a shift happening in their energy toward you. It's subtle but strong. They are thinking about what you're doing right now. They're wondering if you felt the same wave of emotion. They're imagining what you would say if they suddenly confessed everything. And there's fear there, yes, but there's also hope. A small but growing hope that maybe, just maybe, you've been waiting too. The walls they built weren't random. They were built from past pain, past betrayal, past misunderstandings. They learned to protect their heart by staying silent. But you made silence impossible. Your presence disrupted their emotional comfort zone. You made them feel seen in ways they didn't expect. And when someone feels seen, truly seen, it awakens something powerful. Last night, they stopped fighting that awakening. Now they're standing in the quiet aftermath of emotional truth. And truth changes posture. It changes tone. It changes decisions. You might notice they look at you differently. Not casually, intentionally. You might sense a softness in their voice. A hesitation before they speak, like they're choosing words more carefully. That's not distance. That's vulnerability forming. And vulnerability is the beginning of something real. They're thinking about timing now. About how to approach you. About whether to send a long message explaining everything or to wait for the perfect moment in person. They're imagining scenarios in their head. What if you smile? What if you stay silent? What if you Say you've been confused too. The uncertainty is intense, but the need to express themselves is stronger. Because once someone admits love to themselves, keeping it hidden becomes heavier than revealing it. They're tired of carrying it alone. There's also something else you don't fully see yet. They've been watching you more closely than you realize. Not in a controlling way. In a protective way. In an admiring way. They notice your small habits. The way you react to things. The way you pretend to be strong even when you're overwhelmed. They see your value more clearly than you think. And part of their fear last night came from realizing that if they don't step forward soon, someone else might. That thought shook them. Because the idea of watching you build a life with someone else, it felt unbearable. So now they're moving from passive to active. From silent to intentional. From hiding to preparing. And this transition is powerful because it's not forced, it's organic. It's the natural result of emotional truth reaching its peak. You might also feel your own emotions intensifying. That's not coincidence. Emotional connections create invisible threads. When one side shifts, the other feels it. You may find yourself thinking about them unexpectedly. Feeling a mix of anticipation and nervousness. Wondering what's about to happen. Something is about to happen. It may not be dramatic fireworks immediately. It may start small. A deeper conversation. A question about your future plans. A subtle admission like, I don't want to mess this up. But beneath those simple words will be the truth they've been hiding: you matter more than they ever admitted. And here's the key part: they don't want to lose you because they finally understand your role in their life. You're not just someone they talk to. You're not just an emotional comfort. You are the person who shifted their perspective on love itself. Last night forced them to confront the reality that love doesn't always wait patiently. Opportunities don't stay open forever. And silence can become regret if held too long. They don't want regret. They want clarity. They want courage. They want you. So as this energy builds, don't rush. Don't doubt yourself. Don't assume the worst if there's a brief pause before action. Emotional bravery takes a moment to gather. But once gathered, it moves quickly. Your soulmate is stepping into that bravery right now. They're choosing truth over fear. They're choosing vulnerability over ego. They're choosing the possibility of something real over the safety of hiding. And when that choice becomes action, it will feel like a door finally opening after being locked for too long. The air will feel lighter. The tension will dissolve. The confusion will start making sense. Because the secret they couldn't hide anymore wasn't just love. It was the realization that you are their turning point. And what happened last night wasn't random. It was the moment their heart stopped running and started walking toward you instead. And now, we enter the phase that most people never talk about, the silent transformation. before the confession. Because what's happening inside your soulmate right now is not surface-level emotion. It's a complete internal shift. It's the kind of shift that rewrites decisions, resets priorities, and forces someone to confront parts of themselves they've been avoiding for years. Last night was the trigger. But today is the processing. Your soulmate woke up carrying a new awareness. They can't unknow what they realized. They can't push it back into the shadows. The feeling is louder now. Clearer. More defined. It's not confusion anymore. It's not maybe. It's certainty wrapped in fear. And certainty is powerful. They're replaying the exact moment it hit them. The second their chest tightened. The second they imagined you slipping away. The second they felt that sharp, unexpected jealousy or panic or longing. That was the moment they understood, this isn't casual. This isn't temporary. This isn't replaceable. This is real. And here's what makes it even more intense. They've been testing you without you realizing it. Not in a manipulative way, in a protective way. They've been observing how you react when they pull back slightly. They've been noticing whether you still show up, whether you still care, whether your energy shifts even when things felt uncertain, even when communication slowed, even when confusion tried to creep in. You stayed emotionally present. And that consistency? It broke their defenses. Because they're not used to that. They're used to instability. To people giving up easily. To connections fading when things get complicated. But you didn't fade. And that made them question everything they thought they understood about love. Last night, they realized something that scared them deeply. You're not just someone they're attached to. You're someone who feels aligned with their future. And alignment is dangerous when you're afraid of commitment. So what did they do before? They delayed. They distracted themselves. They told themselves, let's not rush. But here's the truth they can't escape anymore. They're not afraid of rushing. They're afraid of losing control. Because loving you means surrendering control. It means allowing their heart to be influenced by someone else's presence. It means caring about your mood, your happiness, your decisions. And that level of emotional investment is something they've resisted for a long time. But resistance is exhausting. And last night, they got tired. Tired of pretending they're unaffected. Tired of acting detached. Tired of overthinking every message instead of just saying what they feel. There's a new softness forming inside them. A quiet readiness. They're imagining what it would feel like to finally speak honestly. To look at you and say, I've been hiding something. They're rehearsing the words in their head. They're calculating the timing. They're thinking about where, when, and how. Because this confession isn't casual. It's life-shifting. And here's something you need to understand deeply: they don't just want to admit their feelings. They want to make sure when they do, it's stable. They don't want temporary emotion. They don't want impulsive drama. They want something solid. Something lasting. That's why this build-up feels intense. They're evaluating their own readiness. Asking themselves, am I prepared to love this person fully? Am I ready to stop hiding? Am I strong enough to risk rejection? And every time they ask these questions, your face appears in their mind. Not anyone else's. Yours. They've also been remembering the small details you probably forgot you shared. Your fears. Your goals. The way your voice changes when you're excited. The way you pause before admitting something vulnerable. These details are not random to them. They matter. And when someone starts noticing details at that level, it means their heart is fully involved. The energy between you two is thick right now. Charged. Magnetic. Even if you're not physically near each other, there's an invisible pull strengthening. You might feel slightly restless. Slightly emotional without a clear reason. That's because connection at this depth doesn't operate only through words, it operates through awareness. And awareness has awakened. Your soulmate is no longer confused about their feelings. They're confused about why they waited so long. And that frustration with themselves is building momentum. Because every hour they stay silent now feels heavier than before. Every conversation that avoids the truth feels incomplete. Every normal interaction feels like it's hiding something enormous underneath. They know it. You sense it. And soon, it won't stay beneath the surface anymore. But here's the twist that changes everything. They've started imagining commitment. Not just confession. Commitment. They're picturing introducing you to their inner world fully. Letting you see the parts they usually protect. Including you in long-term decisions. Planning instead of just reacting. And that's a massive shift from where they were before. Before, they were unsure. Now, they're preparing. Before, they were guarding. Now, they're softening. Before, they feared vulnerability. Now, they fear losing you more than vulnerability itself. That's growth. And growth leads to action. You might notice them reaching out more intentionally soon. Asking deeper questions. Wanting to spend more focused time with you. Being slightly nervous but trying to hide it. Watch their eyes if you can. Eyes reveal what words hesitate to say. There will be a moment, maybe unexpectedly, where their tone changes. Where the atmosphere becomes serious. Where the playful energy shifts into something grounded and real. That will be the doorway. And when that doorway opens, the truth will finally step through. They will tell you that last night made them realize something they can't ignore anymore. They will tell you that pretending to be casual was exhausting. They will tell you that they've been afraid, not of you, but of how deeply they feel for you. And when they say it, you'll feel the weight lift. Because the waiting phase has been intense. But this is not just about romance. This is about alignment. Two people reaching the same emotional realization at different speeds, and finally they're aligning their future with your presence in it. And once alignment happens, movement becomes unstoppable. The secret they couldn't hide anymore has transformed into determination. Determination to show up. Determination to be honest. Determination to stop risking the connection by staying silent. And here's the most powerful part of all. They don't see you as an option anymore. They see you as the one they don't want to risk losing. That mindset shift changes behavior permanently. So as you move through the next few days, pay attention. Not obsessively, calmly. Notice the subtle increase in sincerity. Notice the way they hold conversations a little longer. Notice the way they check in about your emotions. Notice the courage slowly building behind their words. Because what happened last night wasn't temporary emotion. It was awakening. And awakenings don't reverse. They evolve. You're not waiting for feelings to develop. You're waiting for feelings to be spoken. And that moment, that powerful, honest, slightly trembling confession, is closer than you think. Because your soulmate has crossed the point of no return. And once someone crosses that point, the only direction left is toward you, and now, this is the final phase. The phase where silence can no longer survive. The phase where everything that has been building internally finally demands expression externally. Your soulmate is no longer standing at the edge of realization, they've stepped into it. Completely. There is no confusion left. No denial. No pretending. Only truth, and the weight of carrying it alone for too long. Over the past hours, something inside them has settled. Not in a calm, indifferent way, but in a decisive way. The emotional storm that hit them last night has transformed into clarity. And clarity is dangerous for someone who has been hiding. Because clarity doesn't allow excuses. It doesn't allow delay. It forces action. They've realized something profound. If they continue staying silent, they won't just risk losing you, they will lose themselves. Because loving someone and pretending you don't creates an internal fracture. A split between what the heart feels and what the mouth says. And that split has become unbearable. Right now, they are thinking about the first moment they felt something for you. The first spark. The first time your presence felt different from everyone else's. At the time, they brushed it off. They told themselves it was just attraction. Just comfort. Just timing. But looking back now, they see the pattern. The way their mood improved when you texted. The way their attention sharpened when you spoke. The way their day felt incomplete if they didn't hear from you. It was never just. It was always building toward this. And what happened last night didn't create the feelings, it revealed their depth. They've also confronted their own fear honestly for the first time. Not blaming circumstances. Not blaming timing. Not blaming past experiences. They looked at themselves and admitted, I was scared. Scared of being vulnerable. Scared of needing someone. Scared of loving deeply and possibly losing deeply. But when they imagined losing you specifically, something shifted. The pain of that possibility outweighed the fear of confession. That's when everything locked into place. Because when the fear of losing someone becomes stronger than the fear of being honest, love wins. Your soulmate has reached that threshold. There's a different energy in the way they're thinking about you now. It's not reactive. It's intentional. They're no longer analyzing whether they should say something. They're thinking about how to say it in a way that reflects the depth of what they feel. They don't want this to be rushed or careless. They want it to be real, grounded, clear. They're imagining your reaction. The way your eyes might widen slightly. The pause before you respond. The silence that will hang in the air for a few seconds that feel like eternity. And even though that uncertainty makes their heart race, they're ready to face it. Because the alternative, never knowing what could have been, feels worse. And here's something even deeper. They've started envisioning a future where they stop holding back completely. Where communication is open. Where affection is not disguised as casual interaction. Where they don't have to measure every word out of fear. That vision feels freeing, peaceful, safe. And when they compare that to the tension of hiding, the choice becomes obvious. You might feel it very soon, a shift in how directly they speak. A moment where the conversation slows down and becomes serious. They may reference last night subtly at first. They may say something like, I've been thinking a lot. That sentence alone will carry more weight than you expect. Because behind it will be hours of emotional processing. Behind it will be courage gathering quietly. They will likely admit that they've been holding something back. They may confess that they tried to convince themselves it wasn't as deep as it is. They may apologize for creating confusion. And when they speak, their voice might carry vulnerability you've never heard from them before. That will be the confirmation. Because vulnerability cannot be faked. And what they're about to reveal is not temporary emotion. It's accumulated truth. They don't just care about you. They see you as someone who changed them. Changed their perspective on love. Changed their understanding of connection. Changed the way they see their own future. You've become a mirror for them, reflecting parts of themselves they didn't know were ready to love this deeply. And mirrors are powerful. They force self-awareness. They reveal authenticity. They make hiding impossible. That's why the secret couldn't survive anymore. It wasn't meant to. It was meant to lead here. To this final stage where everything aligns. Your soulmate understands now that love is not weakness. That vulnerability is not loss of control. That caring deeply is not something to suppress. They've learned that the strongest it will feel inevitable. Because in truth, this confession has been approaching for a long time. Every delayed message, every intense glance, every moment of silence charged with emotion, all of it was leading here. The difference now is that they're done fighting it. They're ready to stand in front of you emotionally unguarded. And when they finally say it, whether softly, nervously, or with steady conviction, the atmosphere between you will shift permanently. The uncertainty will dissolve. The tension will release. The connection will feel lighter, stronger, clearer. This is not about drama. It's about alignment reaching completion. They no longer want to wonder, what if? They want to know. They no longer want to assume. They want to hear your truth too. Because this connection was never one-sided energy. It was mutual gravity moving at different speeds. And now, those speeds have matched. Your soulmate has caught up emotionally. They are no longer behind their feelings. They are standing inside them fully. And once someone stands fully inside their truth, there is no turning back. So the next time you feel that sudden calm before a conversation, the next time they look at you with intensity instead of hesitation, the next time the silence between you feels full instead of empty, know that you are standing at the doorway of something real. What happened last night was the awakening. What happens next will be the expression. And after that expression, there will be no more secrets to hide. Only honesty. Only clarity. Only the beginning of something that was always meant to unfold this way. This was never random. This was never accidental. This was the moment love stopped whispering and decided to speak.